Alright. Well, folks, it's me, Kerry, again. Well, it's me, Kerry. I'm working on the Chevelle, and what I've had to do, well, I planned all along pulling the motor out at least a couple of times. I've pulled it out again. I've rebuilt the tunnel. I've got to take care of a few issues. Let me bring you up to date here. There's the Chevelle now. I rebuilt the tunnel. I've had to build a new tunnel, and started out with a piece of cardboard. Then I went to 22 gauge metal and made a template, and then I went back to 18 gauge to make the actual template, the actual tunnel. Right here is the seam. This is some welding rod, and I'm planning on putting some welding rod right inside there and welding it in. I made some little panels that will end up going here, and another one for here, for this side. It's a job. It's a job. But the whole idea of doing this, I guess I could have done it with a lot less of a tunnel repair, but I wanted to be able to pull the motor and the transmission out in one piece, you know, after the front end's put on the car. So to do that, I had to go in 10.5 inches and, you know, change the diameter of the tunnel, give myself more room. Here's the motor. Last time you saw it, it was sitting in the car. Now it's back out of the car. I've had to, you know, it's interesting. You guys might find this interesting. I bought these engine mounts. Where the hell is it now? Of course, you never find it when you want it. Here's one. This is, yeah. I bought this engine mount here, and when I took it out, I found out that it was broken. I mean, what the hell's that? What the hell's that's supposed to hold? The whole thing came apart, you know, brand new. And you know, apparently it's only held on by a couple pieces of rubber in the back, and they separated. So screw that. Went ahead and bought some energy suspension engine mounts, and what I did, I have to raise the motor up 3/16 of an inch to get the clearance I need for my steering linkage. So I got an extra. Some guy was selling a set of energy suspension mounts that were burnt, believe it or not. I don't know how he did it. He said he did it with the headers, but I don't know. So I doubled up the plate on the energy suspension mount, and I'm putting in another, that's 3/16 of an inch, by the way. And I'm putting in another 3/16 of an inch plate underneath this engine mount. I have to raise the perch up 1/2 inch and then put a plate underneath of it to get it where I need to be. You see the linkage arms with these little grease fittings? There's one here and there's one here. They hit the bottom of the oil pan just slightly at full turn. If I can get it, when I get the motor up 3/16 of an inch, that problem is solved. A lot of people say if you raise the bottom of the engine that, you know, you change the angle. Well, I found, I mean, I've got a great shot to the transmission. In fact, I'm straighter if I raise the engine mounts 3/16 of an inch than I am, you know, without doing that. I'm actually at a better angle. So I'm not so worried about that. God, that engine mount, that tunnel looks crooked, but that's the factory part where it's kind of funky doodle. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little higher on the right than it is on the left, but that was the floor. I didn't change the floor. I just changed the front corner of the floor, and it doesn't look like that's a problem. Now, what I did notice, so you can see where the tunnel is. That's actually a pretty decent job. I mean, from inside it looks acceptable. It looks like it might have been there from the factory. Hey, nothing looks like it's from the factory, but it looks acceptable, you know? Anyway, I'll show you that in a second. Another thing I noticed when I put the motor in right here. Do you see this little hump right here on the frame, on the cross member? You don't have that hump here, but you do on this side. And on this side, I have 1/4 of an inch between here and the oil pan. On this side, I have to be less than 1/16 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this area up red hot with a acetylene torch, and I'm going to ping it, hopefully dropping it down and giving me a little more clearance right at that corner, because that's the only place I'm having a little bit of an issue, is right there. Sorry about the noise, that's the UPS guy. Another thing I noticed, this transmission came out of a Z28, a 2000 Z28. It has these bars. You see this bar right here that goes in the top? Apparently they're known as, they're for, I don't know, vibration dampers for a Camaro. But I'm not using, I'm using my Chevelle transmission mount. If I leave this, I only have about, I'm going to say 1/4 of an inch from here and the floor. So I'm going to hack this off right here and here, and that'll give me a good 3/4 of an inch or better on the top. I'll leave the middle portion. I'll just hack it because the tunnel goes around it, and it goes so close that this corner is within less than 1/2 an inch from the floorboard. But by hacking it off, I'll have all the room I'll have more room than I need on both sides, and that'll be fine. Let me tell you something. This is a job. All the little shit that you got to deal with to put one of these LS1 motors in a Chevelle. Here's the tunnel. It's all grinded now. It looks like shit, but it'll be better. Right? A lot of that is, the floor that you grind it off, and there's where it is. And as you can see, there's your heater, bottom of your heater box. And I've welded it. Doesn't look, they're not the most beautiful welds, but let's see if I can get you a better shot. But it's solid, so I'm not too worried about it. I also need to, while I'm out there on the inside here, that's where my transmission lines will go into it. There's just it's really tight, so I'll heat that up too, and then put a wrench and kind of like notch the floor pan, indent the floor pan, so I'll have a little bit more of a hump there. I tried to pull it out with the stud puller, the base, pulling it out and give myself more room, but that's the best I could do over there. And I think with heat and a wrench, I can get just enough notch to make those transmission lines work with no problem. I think it's okay. There's the other side. I don't know if you can see it. It's not the best shot, but she's all welded in there nice and tight. It looks, from the camera, it looks a lot worse than it really is. It's not that bad. So grind a little bit more, put a little seam seal, and I think she's going to be okay. That weld there is solid as hell, and that's actually pretty smooth. It's got a little rise there, but it'll be underneath the carpet, and I'll have seam seal on it, so you won't see that. Let's see if I can give you a better picture. Oh man, this is kind of hard to do, but it turned out good. What I did is I made a cardboard template first. Then I made this focus. Okay. I started out with using cardboard. Then I made this tin. It's a 22 gauge template of the hump. And then I took that, once I had the rough measurements all banged out, I took that and I did a nice bend, with the new 18 gauge metal. It was a little easier to do it that way. Man, it's a job. It's a job. I'm getting there. I'm hoping to have it. We've had a mild winter so far, so I'm hoping that I can get this thing, done before snow rise comes, and I can get my fenders and hood and everything on it and bring the Camaro back into the garage. Today I'm hoping to grind all that out nice and smooth, tack weld it on from the inside, weld up the top and weld the two pieces in, and clean that up, paint it. If I can get that done by this evening, and then I can build the engine mount lifts right here, the engine mount lifts by tomorrow, hopefully I might be able to get this motor back in this weekend. That would be really cool, and that'll be the last time. Once the motor's set, I can order my drive shaft. I've already talked to the guy, and I'll have a drivetrain. That would be actually really cool. It's been a long journey. Getting to that point's a big deal. Anyway, thank you. And when I get this thing cleaned up, painted, and I set this motor back in there, I'll take some more videos. I took some pictures, some stills, and I'm hoping to throw them up there too of me pulling the motor out. It was great. With the tunnel the way it is, I had the motor out seriously in less than 3 minutes. And I did not have to separate the motor and trans. It just came swooped right out and then onto the dolly. So, you know, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to pull the motor, drop the motor back in, motor and trans, one piece, done. And if I ever had to do it again, I'm confident I don't have to tear half the body apart to do it. And that's a big deal, you know? All right, guys, thank you. Talk to you later.